Welcome back to episode 9 of Proper Chap's Proper Chat. We are here in the first pod at the pub. So we are at WT's pool.
Give that a little bit more context.
Yeah, so we were originally thinking of doing a podcast purely in a pub. So we'd go place to place, shout out the pub, get a bit of a pub atmosphere purely because we enjoyed the conversations we'd have when we were at the pub, and we used to think, well, we still think we're hilarious. Hopefully other people will, and hopefully we get something of value from listening to us.
Yeah, fuck that, even if we don't, we do this because it's fun.
It is good fun.
And it was going to be pod at the pub,
And now
that never came to fruition because of lockdown. But now, for the first time ever, we're at a pub. We're not only at a pub, we're at our local, or my local, LB and Abs, which we haven't introduced.
No, and we're also here with a special guest, Alex, who we'll get into at the minute. So the pub we are in is WT's American Pool and Snooker Club on St Andrews Street
in Cambridge. Very central to Cambridge, lovely little location, and the people here are fabulous, most welcoming, beautiful people you ever meet in your life. As Ashley said, it's an American pool and snooker club.
Paul Robinson plays here. He's got his own table here.
I don't have Neil Robinson.
Neil Robinson, not Paul Robinson. Neil Robinson.
The Spurs keeper. No, not the Spurs keeper, but Neil Robinson.
The snooker
literally
player.
the best snooker player in the world for a number of years. He's now number 2 in the world. He plays up here. This is his place to play. He's got his own table upstairs. They also have Joe Perry, who's another very decorated snooker player. They both play here. This is their place to play. I'm surprised neither of them are here now, but they're at Sheffield because it's the World Championship of Snooker as we speak. But this place in itself, beautiful little bar, little pub. They do some great offers.
They do. So you can get a membership here. It's £10 for life. So I've been coming here 10, 11 years now. I paid 10 quid when I first come. I got a 4-pint picture for it as well.
Yeah, you don't get that anymore.
No, you don't get that anymore. They used to.
You used to.
But
you sign up for membership for a tenner,
they give you 4 pints.
A full picture. When you're 18 years old, that's you done for 3 days.
But yeah, £1 a year I've spent, and it'll be a lot less than that as I keep coming. Some of their big offers: double vodka Red Bull for a £5, which is fucking cheap.
Yeah.
And
especially in Cambridge.
Yeah, and 4 pints of Coors or Magners or whatever they have on tap for 12 quid.
Can't go wrong.
I think around for us, we've got a Carling and a Coors and a pint of Dark Coke cost me 10 quid.
Can't go wrong with that.
No, not at all.
Another thing that the WTs do, if you're here at Anglia Ruskin, if you're a student, they do a student poker night on a Monday and a Tuesday, completely free to enter. You can win £50 bar vouchers and £50 cash. And they also do,
which is pretty good if it's free to enter.
Mate, if you're a student, if you can win 50 quid a week as a student,
and you're good at poker.
Yeah, and you're good at poker, you're absolutely laughing. But what they do, they also do a £12 entry from Wednesday to Sunday, and that is a £250 prize pool for a tenner or 12 quid.
What bargain?
Yeah,
absolute
good place.
bargain.
If you're Cambridge and you haven't been to WTs, what are you doing with your life? That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Well, like I say, we've been coming here for years. We've never had a problem, have we?
No, I love it. And they've let us podcast today, which is another little lovely touch. Anyway then, bro.
Right, so we are here with Alex. Alex, introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
Hi guys, thanks for having me first. And, my name's Alex. I'm a producer under the name of SYX. And I have a studio called S23 Productions.
So it's music producing.
Yeah, based in Hertfordshire.
Fantastic. Elaborate, mate. Elaborate.
So, well, from the start, I've been producing probably about 5 years now, and I basically came off the back of breakdown of a relationship, and I've always been in music for quite a long time, and I've just thrown myself into music production. And then sort of 3 years into it, I met a lad at work who was a singer-songwriter, a lad called Oscar Corney.
Very good. I remember we went to a studio with him years and years and years ago when he was with the Varsity.
Oh, don't even start about the Varsity. They were fantastic.
Who are Varsity?
So basically, Oscar's career started with a band called the Varsity, and I believe that he was just a guitar player in that band, didn't sing at all. And they were really blowing up. We went to band competition.
Like a ballad of the band sort of thing.
Yeah, and they won it. I think they won it 2 years back to back. It was him. It was a guy called Connor Morris that is now Triple Six Steve. Yeah. So it was Oscar. It was Triple Six Steve. It was Nigel MP.
Yeah.
And
He's doing really well.
Hybrid MP music.
Yeah. Sorry, I got that wrong. Sorry, Nigel. And both of them now, Connor and Nigel, both form part of a band called Bleed Easy with another guy called Ben Carman. They're doing really well. They've been featured on the radio quite recently.
It's been featured on BBC Introducing recently.
Doing really,
I remember
really well.
him in school.
Yeah, exactly. So it was them
From the skate park and over.
Oscar went on to do solo recording as a musician,
And he's fucking
fantastic.
good. He's really fucking good.
Yeah, he is fantastic. So yeah.
So I'm a chippy by trade, and Oscar's a plumber. And basically, I got told that he was obviously a singer-songwriter, so I spoke to him.
When you were knocking up a shelving unit, he was plumbing in a toilet.
I was doing a second fix actually, but anyway. And then
How did that happen? How did you meet him? Be like
literally, so I work. Me and my mate work for a company called SJ Roots, a carpentry company. We run a site in Surham, and he was there, bits and bobs, and then we went to a Saffron Walden site, and he just so happened to be there this day. Obviously knew he was a singer-songwriter, so I just approached him and started talking about music. Pulled up my Instagram and showed him some of my tracks, and he goes, "Oh, I've got a lad that is awesome at rapping."
Christmas or music?
He's rapping. He's awesome at rapping.
But he also could be good at rapping presents. But anyway, so he was like, "I'll speak to him and I'll come round with you one evening." So I've got I basically built a studio in my garden, and he said, "Yeah, I'll bring this lad round." So yeah, I think it happened on the Monday, and then on the Thursday he said he'd come around. So yeah, he turned around with this lad called Taylor Made. And we did a recording session. Then Taylor Made started coming around doing solo sessions on his own, and then he introduced me to a lad, Nicholas Kent, who was also known as Tone Blanco, and he started coming around and doing recording sessions as well. And he's then following on from that, he's introduced me to a singer called Tawana Michael. So I've been working with all these three artists for probably the last year and a half now, sort of developing and building up tracks. We've released 9 tracks with Tone Blanco, and we've released so far 3 with Taylor Made. We've got 3 EPs lined up for the end of this year, so every artist, Tawana, Taylor and Tone, have all got EPs coming out by the end. Triple T. By the end of this year, they'll all have their own EPs out, all out on S23 Productions label.
So you were just doing your regular job as a chippy. You met Oscar.
Yeah.
Oscar introduced you into other people.
To Taylor, and then Taylor introduced me to Tone Blanco, and then Tone Blanco, and it's expanded. I've got other artists that are sort of on the fringes, and we haven't done any recording yet, but they're lined up to sort of.
So your full goal is now, from being a chippy on a site meeting Oscar, now you're going to be, is it SYX or S23 or?
So SYX is obviously my producer name.
So what does SYX do?
So I basically produce all sorts of genres. I mean, my base, where I started out was dance music, and I basically started out in music playing. I ended up DJing at rave when about probably 18 years old. I started DJing at illegal parties, stuff like that.
I know a good story about illegal parties actually.
Yeah, I've never been to an illegal rave, so you can fill me in on it. I've always wanted to go because it's sort of that taboo thing, isn't it? But
so when I was about 18, 19, maybe 20, so we're going back about 10, maybe 15 years, well 10 years, it was my mate's birthday, and we were all out having a drink, as you do, and another one of our mates that we didn't really see too often was part of these drinks, and he was a nice little thing, and he gets a text onto his phone.
Oh yeah.
Saying
3310.
Yeah, honestly it probably was.
Probably.
Like maybe a 3410, so it had Snake 2. Yeah. So
I had a 32.
yeah, I think I've still got a 33. You know, they go for about 80 quid now.
Really?
And they were
I
30.
sold them all back in the day.
Yeah, they're starting to make money, the old 3310s, because they're indestructible. I've still got one at home. It's on 32% battery. I ain't charged it up since 2009. Yeah. Anyway, so all that. all at mateys, all having a drink. It's his birthday, and he gets a text through saying there's an illegal rave in Lewisham. I feel like you've heard this story before. I don't know.
I have.
Yeah.
A bit of deja vu.
Yeah, I've got a bit of deja vu. Anyway, in fact, I'm going to clear that up now. We recorded an entire podcast.
Not an entire one. We hadn't finished. We were an hour and 15
We'd
minutes
only done
in,
a full feature-length movie's worth of recording.
and I deleted it.
And Abs decided that when it popped up saying, "Do you want to save this?" he said no. So I've said this story before, which is why the energy is probably a bit low. But we get this text through, and it says, "Here's the coordinates. There's a rave going on in Lewisham. Come along." So we're like, "Fucking come on!" I was 18, 19. Never been to a proper one. I've been to like the hippie ones, you know. It's about 13, 14 people. All of them haven't had a wash in a couple of weeks.
Dreadlocks, tie-dye t-shirts.
Yeah. And that's coming back around actually, the old tie-dye. Anyway, we go to Lewisham. It takes us about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get there. By the time we get there, walk into this warehouse, and actually we hadn't even walked in. We were looking, and this poor old farmer has a warehouse in the middle of in Lewisham in London, probably paying about 15 grand a month in rent for this warehouse, and the whole thing had been absolutely smashed up.
All these agricultural equipment,
all of it,
tractors,
mate.
combines.
And even thinking about it now, it's just disgusting.
You imagine how pissed off you'd be if you woke up on a Monday morning, went to grab your old 200 grand tractor and someone smashed it up.
Yeah, he went there as soon as it was there. He was probably, I didn't look for a screaming man that was crying, but if I did, I bet I'd have found him. It would have been the farmer that was looking at all his combines, and everything had been smashed up. His warehouse had been smashed up. But there was a massive sound system and some decent DJs, and it was brilliant.
What sort of music were they playing at the time?
So it was like typical rave music of 10 years ago.
Drum and bass.
It was like, yeah, big drum and bass. It was like Happy House, a lot of Happy House. Do you remember Happy House music? Fuck
I remember
me.
Happy Hardcore, but like...
Oh, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Happy Hardcore.
Hardcore. Yeah. That's what it was like.
They're all high BPM.
Yeah, but like Princess Sammy was that a thing? Like, oh, what was that song that she did? Everyone knows it. Anyway, besides
I don't know a lot about that. Happy Hardcore.
Something Sammy. There was a tune that everyone. I'm in heaven. Yeah. Baby, you're all that I want. Yeah, but no copyright. Anyway, that sort of music, and we'll go in there. But some clever little bastard,
Some entrepreneur.
an entrepreneur of sorts, had decided to start securing the doors and charging people to get in. So the first proper illegal rave I went to, I had to pay to get into. It's pretty much where I'm going with
It
that.
used to be £1 for a sound. That's what.
Is
back,
that
in,
what they-
back in the day, that's what it was, £1 for the sound. Yeah, they have a little bucket.
Oh really? Is that what it was?
You'd get a stamp, yeah, or you'd get like a permanent mark on your hand, and then obviously if you come back in, you can get in. You just have to drop £1 for the sound.
You didn't say this 2 hours ago.
No, that's what it was back in the day. And then say you get, you know, when we used to throw parties, we were getting up, you know, between 1,000 and 2,000 people. Bang, 2,000 quid. And then,
And that's what. And then who would that? How would that be distributed?
so at the time, the crew I was with, and we also used to have like we'd rent a van, rent a 3.5 ton Luton van. We brought the system in there with the shutters with the old like tail lift at the back, and then we'd buy shitloads of water, shitloads of beer. We'd sell the beer for £1.50 a pop, and the water for £1 a pop. And obviously you buy a fraction of the cost.
Wait, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does sound good, doesn't it? I bet there's some
And we had
decent money,
some
mate.
security there. Well, we had like a few big lads that would obviously run the bar. Because
You don't get robbed or
that's
stabbed
it,
or
yeah.
something.
And, yeah, we were coming back with 2 or 3, 4 grand sometimes, and that would all just go back into the sound system and stuff like that. So we had a full set of equipment, which you eventually
Reinvest in
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
You eventually lost.
yeah. So we did a party at a sweats factory actually in Wisbech.
Schweppes, as in like the lemonade.
Yeah. So yeah, we did this party there, and basically the old bill turned up like riot squad. So back in the day when it was happening, there was Beds, Hearts and Bucks all teamed up, and they had a rave squad. So if any raves went on, they used to have like 3 counties would team up and go and hit these raves. turn up with riot squads, and yeah, basically had all our equipment seized and stuff like that.
What, and you never got it back?
No.
Surely you could go
Well,
and
I mean, you
claim
could go and get it back, but then obviously
They'll
Be like,
do you
"Let's do you
for
for
things that would
trespassing,
follow on
criminal damage."
organising illegal raves, so it just got lost. And then, so after that happened, I sort of stepped
That's
away
probably
from it.
all on that probably all went on eBay or something, so they
No, it would
could.
have been if
No,
the
they
police.
crushed it. They crushed it.
Really?
I bet they all auctioned it off.
I mean,
Yeah.
we got told this we would get crushed. We did get claims.
Then again, they do crush it. You see those videos online of like Ferraris being seized, and then you watch them going through a crusher.
Yeah.
Who was that footballer that he earned so much money? Was it Mario Balotelli who
Oh,
literally
I'm
didn't
talking
give a
about-
fuck?
Yeah, he couldn't give a shit.
He'd park his Ferrari up on double yellows and
Yeah,
just
he had
leave it
something
there.
else.
Seized it.
Yeah,
No, it'd just be tickets. He's got like a record in Manchester for the most amount of tickets in a year.
and he'd just pay it.
Yeah,
Happened in London as well with like Lamborghinis and all
yeah,
these
people have just
yeah.
got so much money, it don't matter. In fact, David Beckham and Victoria Beckham had a bit of a reputation of just parking wherever the fuck they want, getting a ticket or a clout, and just paying it because there's nothing.
To be fair, it's cheap, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just
80 quid to
Yeah,
park in front of you.
Yeah, it don't matter. You earn that in interest in the time it takes for the cunt to get it off. You know what I mean? Anyway, so you're doing your illegal raves, Pound of Sound.
Yeah, so that's what really got me into music.
Just to clarify, this is SYX Beats.
And Studio 23.
And
What's your Instagram handle?
So my producer page is at SYX_beats, and my studio page is at S23 Productions. And if you want to have a link to any of the artists, if you click onto the S23 Productions Instagram, I'm just underneath on my profile is Taylor Mades, Tony Blanco, Tawana Michael, and myself's links to that page as well.
Fantastic. Get on there, guys. Give it a follow. So we are talking right now to SYX, the heart of S23, the guy that's making it a thing, and we're going back to sound for £1. So that's what you were doing then.
Yeah, so that's what got me into music really. So I started DJing when I was 15.
What are you by trade? Did you say that already?
Chippy.
Oh yeah, you did say. You said about yeah.
So that's sort of
It's a bit of a difference.
yeah. So that's what sort of helped me build my studio with my knowledge from carpentry. So I built the studio. And I didn't really know. I built it for myself with a view to sort of do. I just enjoyed doing music. So, but then it sort of evolved into having all the artists come around and start recording.
And wanting to do it as a career as well. That's impressive to take the leap to go, you know what, I love doing this.
Is it becoming your career?
So,
Or?
yeah, so a couple of weeks ago I've actually told my boss that I'm leaving. I work for a carpentry company, like I said, and I'm walking away from that and going into doing it full time, as of the 4th of September.
That's pretty fucking impressive.
Mate, it's
That is, isn't it?
inspirational, isn't it? For people
Yeah,
that-
just to sort of crack on and do what you love.
The thing is though, things like that can't come cheap. Right? So you can't. For me, for example, I wouldn't be able to walk away from what I'm doing right now to podcast full time.
Yeah.
Because so how have you got yourself into a position that you can just leave being a carpenter?
And what motivates you to do that?
So one of the main motivations was during lockdown, having like 2 months basically getting to do what I wanted, which was work in the studio full time, make music. So I think in April I did nearly made 2 or 3 beats a day. So I think I made over 80 beats in a month. And I sort of just loved that so much. And when we sort of transitioned back into going back to work, I just felt like it wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I'd rather be doing what I was doing during lockdown, enjoying it so much. And the initial stage was like, my mate rang me up and goes, so we're going back to work, but we only can do like 2 days a week. And then it sounds like wicked. I think going 2 days in carpentry, 3 days, and then you know how it is, go back to work, bang, back to full production, 5 days a week.
Was it as simple as
Pretty
that?
much, yeah. I mean, I basically thought, we're going to be doing it part-time, which is perfect for me. I can live off 2 days a week and then do music. But soon it just went into full-time, and I just wasn't really happy. And another sort of inspiration was, I've been reading a book called Think and Grow Rich.
That's a fantastic book.
By Napoleon Hill.
Amazing.
What a name, though.
Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon. I wonder if it was named after that.
Or really short.
Yeah, he must have just been small. No,
He was employed by Andrew Carnegie, which is what we talked about before. The fact that book has sold. He spent 25 years writing it. It sold 100 million
dedicated
copies.
his life to
Yeah.
writing.
Was it? Yeah, it was Napoleon Hill was the author of it, who was an understudy
Of Andrew Carnegie.
Yeah.
So he basically said to him,
It weren't even Andrew Carnegie that he was an understudy of. He was the understudy of the guy that got the biggest deal in history for still.
Charlie Schwab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he followed.
He basically just opened the door for Hill to sort of interview all these wealthy, rich people. So Henry Ford, Edison, all the people that sort of set the foundation. Obviously, Ford set the foundation for motor cars. Edison with the light bulb and stuff
Well,
like that.
without Edison, right now we'd still be in the dark ages.
And no one would be
Literally.
listening to our
And that
podcast.
was his light bulb was his 1001 invention. All the one before got sort of dismissed, and then it's that one. Made
Same.
it.
That's almost identical to Colonel Sanders,
Yeah, didn't get rich
Oh,
until
yeah.
he's like early 70s, did he?
late 70s.
Was it late 70s?
And he still died a billionaire. Imagine not even.
He was close to giving up, really.
Yeah, he tried to. So the story of Sanders was he went through his entire life working, as everyone does. Yeah, just
Loved
working.
his fried chicken.
Never was obviously loved his fried chicken, but it was never a thing. So he works his entire life, gets to retirement age, and I think he must have semi-retired. Worked until he was like 70, 75 because he could. Then when he fully retired, he got his first wage packet. And he looked at it and cried. 76 years old, looking at how much money he has compared to his outgoings, realised that the money that he was getting from the state would mean that he literally hasn't got a life anymore. He could just sit in front of a TV all day.
Do what he wanted.
Yeah, it probably, but at that point it was probably, I can't even sit in front of a TV all day because I can't afford the electric bill if I sit there all day. Yeah, so he probably looked at it and thought, I can have 2 baths a week, I can have, and he just decided,
Fuck this.
yeah, he just thought to himself, I can't live like that.
There's got to be more.
Yeah, so he got his wage back. He thought, what can I do? In his 70s, in his fucking 70s, thought, what can I do better than anyone else? Or what do I think I can do better than anyone else? Because the reality is, Kentucky Fried Chicken, it's not that good. It's not that fantastic.
It's pretty good. But it's
Not fantastic.
No.
I'll tell you what, I'd far prefer someone cooking me up a nice bit of chicken on a barbecue than I would KFC. But he had faith and he had belief. He could do his
The
type
will
of
to do
chicken.
it.
Yeah, and the commitment and the go. But right, so what he does, cooks up this chicken, right? Trials it out to his friends and family. They go, you know what, mate, that's fucking lovely. That's brilliant. I'm going to go to a chicken shop. I'm going to sell it to them. I'm never going to have to worry about money ever again. He goes to the chicken shop. And they say, this is shit, mate. This is fucking whack. Greasy, dripping with sweat. It's no good. So he's a bit disheartened. Does that again. No good. Does it again. Spends months trying to get one of these chicken shops to buy his chicken. No one buys his chicken. So he decides he's just going to top himself. He can't live off of his pension anymore. So he goes out into the wilderness, finds a tree that he thinks looks sturdy, gets his nice little bit of rope out, whacks it round his neck, ties it up to the tree. Most likely crying his eyes out as he's about to jump.
You would be, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course you would. If that's the end of it, he thinks, no, I'm going to try one more. And his memoirs say that he'd done about 1,000 shots, is what he'd done, before he decided to end it all. And he went to one more shop, and they said, we'll give your chicken a little trial. Gives it a trial, goes massive, expands that within the first year, so loads of people are just buying his chicken. So he pretty much became a distributor of chicken. So people are buying it off him.
Basically.
Yeah, effectively a butcher.
Yeah.
So people are buying it off him to sell it, and then that's like year 1. Year 2
He's like, I need
opens
to
up.
open my own shop.
Yeah, opens up his own shop. Year 3, he's got to like 8 shops. Year 4 makes it a franchise. Before he died, he was a billionaire.
Look at the brand now, it's still going.
And the brand now is phenomenal. It's one of the biggest, most successful brands in food history that you could ever imagine. I think the only one that tops it is McDonald's. I don't think there's another brand of food. You know whose clothes was Wimpy's.
Wimpy's, yeah.
Wimpy's made
That's
it
died
big,
out
big in
though, now.
America.
It's big in America, not so
No, they
big here.
fucked it. Wimpy's fucked it. Whoever was in charge at Wimpy's fucked it, and now it's
They're wimps.
yeah. They were wimpy. The people that were wimpy as fuck. And now they're just
I think one of the things he kept getting told as well is that you would never succeed just selling chicken, which is mental when you look at it now. When you've got
Because
KFC and Nando's.
You've got KFC,
Nando's.
you've got Nando's, you've got Pepe's that is round the corner, which is another huge chicken franchise.
Yeah.
You've got so many now, but I mean,
If you have a dream, you just got to believe in it, haven't you?
Yeah.
yeah, and not stop. And at the end of the day, he could have killed himself that day, and KFC would have probably been PFC, where someone else continued the dream and made sure. But to do it in your 70s and to be a billionaire before you die,
Crazy.
That's
is
still mental, isn't it?
absolutely mad.
I mean, look at the story of J.K. Rowling. She went to many publishers and was said, I've got this story about a wizard, blah blah blah, Harry Potter.
If you heard
Load of shit. All the publishers say no.
Load of shit.
Look at it now.
fuck Harry
It
Potter,
is one of the
She
biggest
was the
brands
first
in the
author.
world.
Yeah, she was the first author to earn a
surpass a
billion.
billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she hated so much being a billionaire that she gave up
donated
so
it.
much wealth.
Yeah.
And every time she surpasses it, which she does,
Yeah.
because she makes so much money off the franchise every year, she donates so much
Yeah.
that she's not a billionaire.
Imagine if she listened to the first person and said no to it.
She wouldn't be anywhere.
And that's
Same as
one
Edison.
of the principles in Think and Grow Rich.
It's the same thing with, we spoke about it on the last one, David Goggins' book.
Oh yeah.
So David Goggins, he's, I wouldn't say he's a motivational speaker, but he is motivational because he went through all this shit, like he's brutally beaten both physically and psychologically. Oh, it was horrendous, yeah. And he decided, you know what, I need to make a callus on my brain that is as strong as the calluses I've put on my hand. So this guy's like, he broke the world record for pull-ups, which was like 17,000, which, can you imagine doing 17,000 pull-ups? Mate, your fucking arms would drop off. He ran 8 100-mile marathons back to back over 8 weeks, so every weekend. Like, for you to do one 100-mile marathon, that's written you off for 6 months. So you've done them over 8 weeks. And what he's come to realise is all of this pain and all of this fear and this fear of rejection, and or even like in sales, fear of picking up the phone, it's all mental. It's all stuff that you can break through, and your body will adapt and your body will overcome everything you throw at it. And I've been listening to his book on Audible, and it's unbelievable. And it's, for me, like, I got let go from my job. I haven't got any money coming in now. Me and LB have got a side business, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to focus on that. The quicker I build that to where it's bringing in money, I can start putting money back in my pocket, which then frees me up to get out and do exactly what I want. Another thing is podcasting. Right, we were saying about your studio. We want to do the same thing, but at the minute it's a bit amateur, which is why some of them sound worse than others. We've got a couple of USB microphones and a laptop. That's it. Exactly. Whereas we want to set up a proper studio where we can put a table in there, get 4 mics in there, soundproof it all, record it all, and reach as many people as we can. I think that's the goal. But you just need to push yourself. Like we were saying before about how you market your music, because you said that you've produced 80 tracks so far since lockdown. So how are you getting them out to people? What's your what's your process?
So it's all been a bit of process of trial and error. So we released about 9 tracks with a lad called Tone Blanco, with no real. The only marketing we were really doing was Instagram, essentially. So just videos.
Just off your own account.
Just
So
off
not
my
even
account.
marketing off Instagram.
Yeah, and I did run a couple of promos, like paid promos, which I've learned a bit from doing that. Is that I think it's got to capture your straight away, because as soon as if you go on Instagram or Facebook, as you know, bang, when someone has a sponsored promo, it's like invading your timeline.
100%.
So it's like, it's like almost like you don't want to view it, or you don't want to engage with it. So it's got to be either a really good bit of music that you like straight away, or something that bangs in
For
your face.
me, on Facebook or Instagram, I hate it. Anything that isn't an obvious ad. If a dog food ad comes up, fair enough, that's an advert. If it's an artist on Facebook or Instagram, pushing their shit in front of my face on Facebook.
With like
Instagram.
awkward videos, so it was like, hi, I'm saying, you
Yeah.
don't like it.
You know,
Don't skip this advert.
Oh, mate, that
Don't.
the first
Oh
thing I
well,
do-
boom, skip.
The reason why music isn't selling.
Yeah.
Fuck off, mate.
Yeah, on Facebook or Instagram, that winds me up. On YouTube, I'll give it a bit more time because I haven't got that personal connection to my YouTube. On Facebook, you've got your Facebook account. On Instagram, you've got your Instagram account. They're
You want to
yours.
watch the video at the tail end of that ad,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. On YouTube, it's not so. You expect it to be there, kind of, and you give it a bit more time.
Well, I think with YouTube as well, when I'm on YouTube, it's like a flow state. So I'm watching a video and then it will link to another video and it will link to another video and another video, and it's all the same. Yeah. Whereas if I'm scrolling through my Facebook and a fucking advert for dog food comes up, I'm like, why the fuck do I need to see that? That's not relevant to anything that I've been speaking about, talking about.
Besides that, even if it is something that's relevant, I feel it feels more intrusive.
Yeah.
When it's your personal account. If it's something, no one on YouTube is going on YouTube and checking an update. So
Yeah.
on Facebook, you go onto Facebook and you refresh the feed to see what's going on in your friends' lives. Same as Instagram. And you go on there, refresh, see your news. You don't get on YouTube. You don't go on and refresh your feed on YouTube to see what news about. So that's why it's not that level of invasion that an ad does for me.
So I think you've got to do, if you are doing sort of paid promo on Insta, you've got to approach it in the right way. But with our release, so like our first release with TaylorMade, he actually had a good idea of going onto Fiverr, which is sort of a website where you can get all sorts of stuff. You can get artwork done. You can get. And we actually got some promo, and I don't think it was a lot. It was under £100. And and that then pushes it out to different people and gets it in front of different people.
And if they like it, they spread it to more people.
Exactly, like word of mouth. Like any sort of good thing you hear about, it's word of mouth is probably the best organic way of
Didn't you say he
reaching
spent
out.
like 10 quid, I think, is all he spent on that promo?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's mad.
But yeah, so obviously different level you can pay for different levels of promotion. But yeah, and off the back of that, I think on Spotify we've had over 7.5k views on the.
And that's just on Spotify.
Just on Spotify, yeah.
Then you've got all your you've got your iTunes, Amazon.
That's still pretty impressive for a first release.
With no.
That means
With
that
no
means
backlog.
If you work that out, you've actually made money.
Yeah,
What
we've
you've
broke
spent
even
on.
and made a little bit off it. I mean, you've got to speculate to accumulate, haven't you? Like at the start.
Money makes money.
Exactly. Yeah. And
No, and it actually does.
And you've got to get that. You can release. Everyone can go out and record a track on their phone and release it, but it's got to be good, and you've got to get in front of people. Haven't you? That's essentially.
Yeah.
So I think the thing with the music industry, same as podcasting now, it's easy for anyone to do a podcast and to get it on the platforms. Now the hard thing
Is to get people to listen
It's
to
got
it.
to be good quality to draw people in, and you've got to get in front of people. So then the two things you've got to basically tick the boxes in, isn't it?
That's the one thing we said when we were thinking about starting up, especially about getting guests on, because
who's round.
if we're, I don't know, I got the one before last. Who's got the next one?
See you up, pal. When
I'm
you're
saying
ready.
that I need a piss.
Yeah, you go for that. So we were saying,
We have Diet Coke and a
Cause I was.
so we were saying about
Getting in front of
getting in front of people. So we want guests to come on because that way we help them. We're giving them the time of day and the fact that they can promote themselves. Same with pubs, and they will also promote us, which gets us out to a bigger audience because we just want to have a laugh, chat about shit.
At the end of the day, if you can do the things that you enjoy doing and make them pay for you, then you're
That's a happy life, isn't it? If I could get,
literally it's the most stress-less life. No stress because you love what you're doing. There are going to be times where you get a bit stressed out. So imagine that we were doing this full time. Our maximum stress would be we're going to see someone 2 hours away to do a podcast and we get stuck in traffic. That would be our maximum stress.
Yeah.
Or we'd do an entire podcast
and I delete it. by
and you would
accident.
delete the entire thing. That would be maximum stress as well.
Shit
And
happens though.
exactly, and that's the maximum stress. Shit happens. If you do that, if you're a firefighter and
You're
things
someone
go
stuck
wrong,
in a building, yeah, you could be costing someone their lives.
people literally die. literally, and that is the stress that I don't want. And people do that for such a less amount of money of the potential of being a musician, being a podcaster, being a singer-songwriter, being an actor, whatever it is. When you're an actor, your biggest stress, if you're just an actor, is getting your lines wrong.
Yeah.
Because you don't even care if the film grosses.
No, because you're still getting paid your money, and the fact that it's not your job to promote it, it's they've got millions and millions of pounds.
It's not your job. It literally isn't your job.
No, you turn up, you do, you're pretending to be someone else. You say your lines correctly, you say them right, and that's it.
Yeah, and even if
You
you
go
get that
home.
wrong, that's your biggest stress.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're, like I say, if you're a podcaster, if you're a musician, if it's your biggest stress is losing your content. That happens.
Yep, and we just do it again like we're doing now.
And you literally start again.
We're already 35 minutes in.
Have
So
we really?
yeah, I know. It goes. I think it's quite nice doing it like this. Although it's a bit of a ball ache that we lost a lot. It's more we're in a flow state now. We know what we're.
Yeah, but sometimes it's unnatural if you
It's a
have
bit
to
repetitive.
retouch. Yeah, well, and that's literally what you have.
For us, not for listeners.
Oh yeah, listeners.
And it's getting a lot louder in WTs now.
Yeah, that's one of the problems. Yeah, eventually it's going to get to a point where we can't. Well, if we miss this one up, that's game over.
We'll have to wait until another day.
We'd have to go back to Bulldog.
No, and we couldn't shout WTs out because they've been really nice, accommodating us. To be
Mate,
honest.
I love WTs. This is my home from home. The manager today has just said, "Go ahead, boys, enjoy yourself. We'll speak to the other manager, and he'll shout it out for you," which is fantastic.
Yeah, because it's good. The more listeners we get, the better. And it's not just for the money; it's just the enjoyment of people listening to us. That's quite nice.
Whoa! Stop there. So what do we do, Ash? Every podcast that we haven't done this time?
We've done it in a pub with atmosphere.
No, but what do we do? Every podcast that we haven't done this
Oh,
time?
pub snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the things when we were talking about pod at the pub, was we would get a different pint and a different pub snack and review them. So we could do that now.
Yeah, without the snacks. So every podcast on Proper Chap so far, we've had our own drink. In fact, I think you liked one of the photos. In fact, I know you did. Of,
Oh yeah, we had the selection.
yeah, so that's what we've been doing every podcast. But this one, obviously, it ain't happened.
No,
We've not thought about
but
it.
we're going to. We're still in WTs. We're getting some actual nice icy cold drinks on tap.
What have you
Rather,
gone for, Russell boy?
I've gone for a Diet Coke because I'm driving.
And what's your snack? Ice cubes.
Ice cubes. Haven't got snacks because WTs do toasties, and I don't think a toastie's a pub snack.
Mate,
but-
you nearly bought a fucking KFC last week.
But before we got here, I did go to street food, Thai street
You
food,
did.
called Chi.
Cheese, C-H-I.
It's
Down the same road?
No, it's in the Grafton
Yeah,
Centre.
technically it's that, but it's actually in Grafton Centre.
Yeah, that was fucking lovely. Not as much sauce as I wanted in it, but I had like a beef rib with like this Thai sauce or the Oriental sauce
Little bit of
in a
shredded
is it called a shao bun or like
Bao.
a bao bun?
B-A-O.
Mate, fucking lovely. Jalapenos, little bit of salad in there.
nice, mate.
That was fucking lovely. So that was my semi-pub snack.
If you're going anywhere on the way back, get a cheese. They're fantastic. But it's 50% off Monday to Wednesday, which is why I didn't eat. I'm coming back Wednesday for one.
I'll come back Wednesday with you.
Yeah, well, not.
In fact, we can do that before we head off to see Carl. Because
Yeah,
next
so-
week we're on a podcast we just recorded and deleted. We got into aliens. I fucking love talking about aliens, but we can't go into that again because we're talking about that on the podcast next week.
So let's keep it. What I went with is a Coors Light from a pub, which frankly is one of the best beers you ever get. If they did Peroni or Birra Moretti, I'd have had one of them, but they don't. So Coors Light, fantastic. And my pub snack, Gaviscon.
Yeah, for your heartburn.
Lovely.
And you've gone through a lot of Gaviscon as well. I think you've been for a sleeve and a
How
bit
much
now.
they sting you for that?
£6, mate.
Tesco's, those robbing
£6.
bastards. Talking about lockdown, Tesco's.
Nearly 30p a tablet. That makes me sick.
You remember you told
I've
me
munched 12 so far. I'm waiting for my high. I want to be gurning in the corner in a minute.
you were telling me when the lockdown happened and everyone was rushing out to buy food because they thought it was the end of the fucking world when actually it's not. just bulk buying. You say they doubled what they would do Christmas week?
Yeah, so that was
Panic
every
buying.
major retailer in food, supermarket, were not double, but they were reflective of what they do for that 1 week build up to Christmas.
Yeah. And
For-
everyone goes silly. And the shops
for
are
6
closed
weeks.
for 1 day, and everyone goes mad.
They did that for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Is what they made. Right, so the only places that really benefited from lockdown are supermarkets
And Amazon.
and online retailers, which
Yeah.
is Amazon.
And probably PlayStation. I know PlayStation recorded a record July
Big time. I
because
heard
more people are staying at home playing games. And their deals, some of their deals at the minute are fucking insane.
TV advertisements. I heard on Radio 1 earlier today when I was
I don't
driving
watch
into
telly.
Cambridge.
I don't
No,
watch
I-
any terrestrial telly at all. It's all Netflix, Amazon. I fucking hate adverts.
Cinema
I
HD.
think
Oh, man.
with Fortnite,
Pornhub.
I think Travis Scott did a not a festival, did a live show
Online.
online for a Fortnite, which was exceeded like the
Huge.
crazy numbers. Yeah, crazy numbers.
So,
Going back to the new.
wait. So I was listening to Radio 1 on the way in. They said TV viewing has gone up so much that advertising costs on terrestrial TV are up 30%. So if you imagine, it's probably costing you already.
60 grand for a minute or even more probably.
Yeah, but you get. So the thing is, when you pay for advertising like that, I only know this through the job that I work. Normally, we've got radio companies offering to give you radio time. So you can't pay for one slot. You have to pay for multiple slots for certain times. So let's say, for example, if you're on the radio and you want 20 minutes of advertising, and you want that over 10-second adverts, you've probably got 6 months worth. So if you have one a day, 10 seconds, getting 70 seconds in a week, so on and so forth. But you pay, it's about £5 on just regular local radio
That's mental.
for 20 minutes.
We were talking about quite a cool business idea about setting up a radio station. Fuck knows how we'd do it. But it's purely podcast radios. So you turn around and say, right, well, Joe Rogan wants the 3 o'clock till 5, the 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock time where everyone's driving home. He would pay, I don't know, £4,000 for that slot to have his radio for a week or whatever. And if you're starting off like us and you wanted the fucking 7 o'clock to 7:30,
The reality is, if it was simple,
everyone would do it.
It'd already have been done.
Like he was saying that things like Spotify are killing radio. I got DAB radio in the car. I don't fucking listen to
I
it.
haven't listened to the radio in years.
No, it's all on my phone.
I haven't got
I've got
DAB, so I
audio.
listen to it every time I'm in my car.
Yeah, I've
What,
got.
have you got DAB in your van?
I haven't got DAB, but I mean, radio-wise, I used to TalkSport. I used to listen to.
Everyone's got a lower bit of talk.
I'm always a Planet Rock or Radio X or
In
Absolute.
your van, what do you just have your phone hooked up to Spotify?
I mean, I just tend now at Spotify. I just tend to listen to my own music,
Yeah,
my own beats,
and it
my own
motivates you.
I love that.
Well, we do it with a podcast because obviously we're starting out. We're on episode 9, so every so often I'll go on there and listen to us back because I'll take tips from it. I'll be like, right, well, LB was too loud there, or I was too low there, so it's mixing it all up. Saying, right, well, I have a thing. It used to be a lot worse. I don't really get it a lot on here much, but I stutter. So I'll start saying a word, I'll get halfway through it, and then I'll be like, it's not coming out properly, so I have to stop and I have to go through it all again. Especially with my anxiety, it plays up quite a lot. So with this, I've found that today, Junior.
Don't give them a complex.
Yeah. With this, I've sort of listened back to it and gone, right, well, that's what I've done that, so I'll avoid doing that and just make it a little bit more smooth.
And the more confident, the more you do it, the more confident you get. The same with me. The more I have artists around to the studio, the more I make beats, the more confident I am that I can achieve what I'm doing. So, I mean, back in the day, I used to spend. I remember once I spent a whole weekend making one track.
Yeah.
And that's when I was.
You didn't accidentally delete it afterwards?
No, I didn't actually delete it. I mean, that's happened before.
No.
That's happened before, but now I can sit down, make a beat in 10 minutes, and then build, mix it, and get it mastered. And probably now it's about an hour and a half. like all in.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
That's practice. It's just practice and learning.
So
and learning.
what made you decide music?
What were your influences?
Influences quite broad. So started off when I was younger. I liked to watch stuff like Limp Bizkit,
I fucking love Limp Bizkit.
Linkin Park.
I've seen Limp Bizkit 4 times now.
Seen at Reading.
Mate, they are unbelievable.
Are they that good?
They are
Red Durst with a red
unbelievable.
cap, yeah.
No,
No, do they
I'll
still
tell
talk?
you,
I really feel like I need to.
They do.
I
They
need
do.
to see them, and if they do, we're all going together to their next live fucking tour.
They do festivals and they tour. My 2 best experiences for Limp Bizkit, which solidified my love for them. I've loved them since I was young.
Yeah, Significant Other.
Yeah, man. Or chocolate starfish,
and
mate.
hot dog flavoured water.
Yeah.
What a random name.
I know.
Yeah, well, think what it is. Chocolate,
Yeah.
chocolate
We don't have to
starfish.
expand upon that, mate.
No.
It's the bum hole.
Yes, we understand that, though.
So I saw
I'm not getting my chocolate starfish. No, I'm not doing it. All right, I'll do it.
at Grass Pop Metal Meeting, the festival in Belgium.
Spelt with one S.
Same,
Grass Pop.
yeah, same gig or set. Solidified it. One, at those sort of things, everyone's like, it's a big love. Like, there's no sort of aggression there. This girl in the wheelchair got crowd surfed through, and he stopped everything. He's like, "Fucking get her up here!" And they crowd surfed this girl in a wheelchair all the way through. Shit, you
That
know,
was an
all the way
excellent way
through.
to happen.
Got her up on stage with him, and she spent the rest of that song on stage. And he was like, "Oh, how did you do it?" And she was like, "I was crowd surfing yesterday and broke her leg." So the people that were there patched her all up, put a cast and stuff on her. She went back and got crowd surfed and on that.
So he was kind of hoping that she was a flea.
Yeah, but yeah, she just broke her leg crowd surfing, and that me and a few friends started a massive circle pit there. And it was probably the biggest fucking one I've been in, and it was just incredible. They are so good
Honestly,
live.
boys, you heard it here first. Proper chat is going to a festival that Limp Bizkit are playing at, and we're going to do this again in a tent, in some random drug addict's tent that hopefully has brought a mobile home. And we'll do it. I promise. Heard it here first. Nudges in the middle. We're
I'll
going to
do
make
that.
a thing.
I fucking love Limp Bizkit.
I've
They
never
are
seen them live, and
unbelievable.
for my rapping, honestly, they're one of my biggest influences. The way that careless rapping, careless. Don't forget to do
They
that.
were sort of first sort of rock rap. Sort of. They mixed it, didn't they? And another
I don't
album
think
that did
anyone's
that.
really done that again. That perfectly harmonised the culture of black rap music to white rock music. I don't think there's anyone else.
Isn't it? When you have a niche in music,
There's no one else that's done it since.
100%.
Yeah, I think Jay-Z tried to jump.
He did a collab EP
With Linkin Park.
It weren't
That's
the
what I
same
was
though,
just
wasn't it?
looking up.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Fucking
Reanimation.
brilliant.
Yeah, with Jay-Z.
We're fact checking.
Collision Course was the album
I think
name.
Reanimation is someone.
There must have been a track on
Someone
it,
did Reanimation. I think it was Kanye West.
But back to my influences, like so obviously then as I was growing up, and then Eminem dropped, Dre, and I just was absorbed by like I don't know, just amazing like Dre's production.
It's kind of my development as well. I feel like in this process, if Eminem was a podcaster, I'd be Eminem and you'd be Dr. Dre.
But yeah, just awesome beats, and I was just fascinated by. I actually wondered how he done all the music and stuff, and actually looking into it, he actually used to get people in to like play piano bits, and Scott Storch, amazing producer.
If you go on YouTube, in fact, do this if anyone's listening. Go onto Scott Storch, go onto YouTube, and search for Scott Storch greatest hits on the piano, and he does a compilation of the tracks that he wrote. And some of the biggest
Fat Joe's tracks,
He's done Snoop
amazing
Dogg,
hip hop tracks. You
Dre.
wouldn't realise that he actually has done the melodies.
So many.
I never listened to Fat Joe, but the only reason I knew him because of the Def Jam Fight for New York game. It's just all the hip hop artists fighting each other like Tekken. It was fucking quality.
Yeah, brilliant. Anyway, so where were we at?
That sort of influenced me into like what I've done, and then obviously with the rave stuff, I was really influenced by dance music. So I started mixing off drum and bass, and then it evolved into dance and hard trance stuff like that. And then I sort of dabbled with production, and then things came along like weed, girls, alcohol, like distractions, and you just go off on a different path. And I didn't really follow it through. And at the time, I think it was quite hard to sort of. I think nowadays it's very easy for a producer. You get a laptop, you get FL, you get Logic, you get Reason, whatever it is, get a keyboard, and you can start making beats. But back in the day, when like 2005, 2006, that sort of time, it was quite hard to sort of create music and have a platform to put it out. I mean, now you can make a track on your iPhone, bang, and put it, use distro and release it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I sort of got disillusioned and didn't really follow through with it, even though I loved.
But the thing is, you must have not even known that it was that easy. Initially, you must have been working your stuff, doing your stuff, and not realising that what you're creating it was easy to distribute.
Yeah, I mean, I used to DJ, so I loved DJing, so I'd like do like mixtapes and I'd just hand them out to people, blah 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 blah, and that was sort of the way I thought I was going to go down the route of
being a DJ.
Yeah, and then got into carpentry about 17, and then like, took to it really well, and ended up doing that. I've been doing that for about 20 years now.
20 years?
Well, you built your own studio, didn't you?
Probably 50, about 15. I'm not that old. But yeah, since I'm 35 now, so.
Anyway, Grandad, how did you get it?
But yeah, so and then, but nowadays, you can literally just pick up a laptop and make beats and get them released. So I think it's a lot easier nowadays to get into
so let's break that down.
Yeah.
So you're 17, 18. Let's just call it 22 for the sake of argument. You're an aspiring DJ. You're doing your underground scene. You're a chippy by trade.
Yeah.
When did it all start changing? When did you?
I mean, well, like the real turning point, I think, was I got into like quite a deep relationship, and we bought a house and blah blah blah, and we started a family, and then that sort of went tits up, and off the back of that, I just threw myself into. I'd actually built a studio.
How old were you?
My girlfriend wouldn't let me have my decks or whatever in the house. She was, for some reason, she was like, no, you're not having that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, fine, well, I'm going to build a shed in the garden and put all my stuff in there. So then I did that, and every time she'd go out or she was doing stuff, I'd be like, bang, straight up in the studio, making beats.
Did you feel like you couldn't do that when she was there then?
Not that I couldn't do it, but obviously your time is, you spend time with your missus, don't you, and blah, blah, blah. And not supportive. I remember she was saying that all you are is a bedroom DJ, like, nothing more. And like,
she actually said that.
Yeah. So that was, to me, it was like a driving
like kicking
force.
the balls as
yeah,
well.
Like,
yeah,
when
massive.
we broke up, it was a driving force to be like, nah, fuck you.
I'm going to make something of myself.
I just had such a passion for music. I've always been just so intrigued by music and making music and fascinated by it.
Right, so we're at the point now. Your missus has said to you, you're never going to be anything.
Yeah, she basically walked out and left, and that's what has sort of thrown me into.
So she leaves.
Yeah.
Right, you're in your own empty house with your decks and your vinyls all in the shed.
Yeah.
What happens?
So I went with my mate and went to watch a film called Straight Outta Compton. You probably know it.
I fucking love that.
Not even that. That's only like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, with Dre, and he basically started off as a DJ, and like I was pretty good at DJing, but I sort of let it fade away. And then he obviously, the story of him with NWA started making beats, and they just blew up. And I was like, I don't know, somebody in me was like, I'm going to fucking do that. So when I got home that night from watching that film, I went online and ordered a machine. So it's a machine is basically, if you ever know what MPC is, it's like a pad with 16 pads, and you can load different drums into it.
So one of them you see online where people like press the button.
Beardy Man uses one, doesn't he?
And like I felt, and I've obviously dabbled with music production before, and I was like, clicking things in and trying to do stuff that didn't really gel with me well, but when you can actually hit a button
and it makes the sound,
it's like an instrument.
So is that where you actually started then, with your machine?
With the machinery, yeah.
What does that load into? So you do that, or do you just have to record it with a phone? How does that become a thing?
So it's you buy something called a machine, and with that you get Native Instruments machine software, which you can then build tracks. So you can do a little drum pad, and you can do little patterns and build.
So if, for example, I've got a machiner in front of me.
Yeah.
I've got a laptop.
Yeah.
It's got the software. I press a button on the laptop, and then I go, say button 2 is a drum, button 4 is a kick, is a snare, and I'll just go.
Yeah, so you can record and do like live, basically drumming with your finger drums.
Set up we will rock you, didn't I? I didn't even mean to. It was 2 kicks and a snare.
Yeah, that's essentially what got me into it and got me going with it, was being able to do it live and then record stuff, and then you can
play with
what
it.
you've made into basically MIDI, you can edit that.
So now SYX, Alex, he's got his machiner, right? He's pissed off with his missus. He's got his own place now. He's got a machiner, he's got a laptop.
Yeah, so I started off in my spare room, and I was like, I just had a vision of building a big studio on the garden, so I bought a gaff that had the possibility of with that in mind.
Had a garden that
Had a
would
garden,
allow.
big enough garden to have like a nice big studio at the bottom.
Yep.
And my mate was like, why are you building a studio? Why don't you just use a spare room? I was like, I don't know, I had a vision.
Separation.
Yeah, you could go up there and go away from the house. And like, I still haven't finished the house. I've been there 4 years. It's still fucking like stairs and no carpet.
So real talk.
The kitchen's not finished, but the studio 100% finished. Like it's done. So yeah,
If I'd been there, I'd have said it was a beautiful place.
you'd be lying. But the studio is, but the house ain't. But yeah, so I built that, and that took me. So I moved in, and in the August 2016, by December 2016, I built the thing.
So what? When did you move in?
I moved in August 16th, 2016.
And within 4 months.
Yeah, I built it, and then it was all finished 100% with all my gear in there on I think it was like the 4th of April, 2017.
That's fucking impressive, that.
So it's taken you about 9 months.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, just working.
9 months. Sorry to interject there.
Yeah.
I've been round your house, Alex,
Yeah.
and I noticed that you ain't got any carpet.
No, and the kitchen's not finished.
Well, the kitchen.
Have you got a microwave and a kettle?
Yeah.
And he's got.
Or if you've got a microwave and a kettle, you're
last
fine.
time I was around there, it's cooking a nice bit of chicken. It smelled fucking lovely. Actually,
Been round for a few barbers.
do you remember the time before when I cooked burgers and I tried to put a little bit of pepper on the top?
And the peppercorn thing.
Mate, I've done that loads of times.
The whole
For
thing
fuck's
fell
sake,
off.
Al.
The whole thing fell off. And we were eating burgers with peppercorns.
Yeah, like one bite and you're like,
Mate, they're fucking banging, but then all of a sudden you get this crunchy bit.
Yeah.
I had a curry when I was on holiday. I had a curry, and they still left those little tamarind pits
Oh,
in.
no,
Mate,
like the
I
grapes.
bit that, and I was like,
That ruins your life.
It does.
You have to go back there with a chainsaw if that happens.
but the curry was banging.
Yeah,
I was
they're
at
fantastic.
Alton Towers for 4 days, so
Listen,
we'll
at
get
the end
onto
of the
that
day,
later.
if they put them in there, if they put those little things in there, you know they make a good curry.
Yeah.
If they leave them in there,
They don't take them
yeah,
out.
that actually hurt a little bit. Anyway,
bit.
I've been to your house.
Yeah.
I cannot believe, and that's fucking fantastic. You moved into there in 2016.
Yeah.
A little bit of a letdown that you've had 4 years in there, and I still have to go up a wooden staircase and with protected by a pot. But in that,
He's such a prick.
in that, if you knew the conversation,
But
anyway.
yeah, my priority, I don't know, I just. Yeah,
I've
built
seen
the
your studio as well, Al, and frankly, your studio is fucking awesome.
Well, we recorded the intro for our other podcast.
TPSP, yeah. So we do another podcast for anyone that's interested in buying a car or doing anything around cars. Listen to our other podcast. It's called Those Pesky Salespeople. Find that on all platforms up until the end of this month. Because
No, it's still there.
Oh, is
I've
it?
downgraded it, so it stays there forever. But we can't upload.
oh, no,
Because I want to concentrate on this, because I enjoyed this.
That should have been that from the moment we stopped recording for it.
I didn't know.
Right, listen.
know now.
If you were going to buy a car, listen. So we've got how many episodes?
13.
13 episodes. They're all about half an hour to an hour, maybe a little bit more.
We're still getting down. We haven't put anything out for 3 months,
Yeah, we
and
had
we're still
11
getting
other
downloads. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, so people listen. It's really good advice if you're buying a car. Anyway, we went there to record the opening jingle. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember doing it.
For TPSP. So that's why.
Those salespeople.
Yeah, and that
remember
never
that.
became a thing. And that should have been, because the fact that you remember that now means that definitely should have been
It's like going back to radio ads, you remember them annoying ads you hear, right?
That
Well,
stick in
it
your
doesn't
mind.
matter how annoying they are, they stick in your head.
Yeah.
Cambridge Bed Centre.
yeah.
Have you seen
1066?
Have you seen Cambridge Bed Centre?
No.
It's down Mill Road. Place is a dive.
Yeah.
Absolute dive. But you know it because of the little jingle it had on Heart Radio for the cake. It's the Cambridge Bed Centre. Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
To buy a bed,
They owe us some money now, by the
What do you want
way.
to use? So you go,
Got Cambridge Bed Centre. Well, obviously people didn't, mate. You want to go see it? They just sung the theme to. Sing the theme to.
Rad the theme
Anyway,
to.
so I've been round you guys.
Yeah.
The fact that you went from August 2016 to April 2017 and built what you built is fucking unbelievable. That's commitment.
That is
to
impressive.
yourself. That actually shows.
You know what that means? You're going to have to come and help us build our studio.
Yeah,
We'll put a
100%.
S23 sticker up in the background
Yeah,
for when
just
we
to-
record.
No problem.
100%. That's what we'll do.
But I think I just turned all the energy, bad energy, well not bad energy, but obviously when things like that happen, it was probably a 5-6 year relationship.
Well, it is negative energy.
Turn that energy and then direct it into
Harvest
something else,
it.
which was
Harvest
me.
that energy.
Yeah, which I built something for me, what I love doing, and wanted to sort of just throw myself into.
So what happened that 2.5 years, but you still didn't have carpet on your staircase before you got an artist
Well, I
around
keep
here?
thinking about doing carpet on the staircase, but like, I just haven't got around to it. But I've done an
Constant-
extension on. I've done an extension on the studio since then. So in lockdown, I decided to. So
hang on, let me get this right.
Yeah.
Since 2017,
So-
2017 when
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
finished,
yeah.
You've
3 years on.
You've
yeah.
not managed to get any carpet on your
No, I've been
staircase,
thinking about it.
but you've managed to put an extension on your
You,
staircase.
you must have loads of like soundproofing stuff left over. Just do that on your staircase.
Oh, imagine that on your
I will
feet.
get a carpet done, but yeah, it's not a priority. At the moment.
No,
Yeah, sure.
focus on your music.
At the end of the day, mate, if everything goes well for you, then that won't even be your house for that much.
By the
longer.
end of the year, I'll have carpet on the stairs.
No, fuck that. By the end of the year, you'll be living in a penthouse. At the end of the year, mate.
I'm quite happy living there. Like I do want to.
Yeah, the end of the year,
build,
this year.
buy or build a studio in Cambridge. That's my sort of my next goal at the moment. But yeah, I just
For the end of this year, you want to put carpet on your staircase.
Yeah, that's mine.
That's a personal goal.
personal goal. Yeah.
So do you do, like we were talking about Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
One thing that I do, or I was doing up until recently, because with our business it's sort of been put on hold purely because a lot of external forces. I was doing a lot of affirmations every day. I was listening to sleep meditation about positivity because I suffer quite badly with anxiety and depression. So that for me was a big driving force, and I had for 2 years was just solid motivation to a point where I actually was starting to.
It weren't 2 years. Otherwise,
No,
I think
it was about a year.
I think TSI would have been much more. I reckon
Yeah.
realistically, probably 8 months of religious.
That then just got drained through the people that I was around.
Yeah.
What are your affirmations? What are your goals? What do you tell yourself every day to make yourself big?
Yes, I do. So basically, my goal is to essentially build. I've got a few artists that I'm working with, and I want to build a studio, a professional studio in Cambridge, and then just build up all the artists that I've got, and give them a platform to sort of release. So there's a lot of artists out there that don't have facilities
platform.
or don't have the money to. They're obviously very talented. They don't have the access to sort of studio time and stuff like that. So it's giving them a platform basically to come in into my studio.
Again, it's setting up a studio. Like we said this on the last one. It's not cheap. Like for this podcast, all we got is I've got my laptop. I've bought 2 Blue Snowball USB mics. I've got some free software to record on, and that's why sometimes audio quality is not the best. I've got to try and edit it myself, and go from there.
You've got to start with the tools that are available to you.
You do.
Build from that.
Just a shout out to those other artists on Instagram. We've got Tawana.
Tawana Michael.
So at tawana.michael, so it's tawana.michael.
Absolutely amazing singer-songwriter. Plays all instruments. I think he's actually studying music at uni. Really talented. So yeah, he's got an EP coming out in the next couple of months. A 5-track EP, all produced by myself. Who else we got on there?
We've got Taylor Made, so that's at Taylor Made, TAYLOR dot Made, MAYD official. I actually listened to one of his songs on Spotify, Lockdown Rhythm. That is a fucking tune.
That's done quite big numbers. We've only spent said, I think before, 15 quid on promotion. And he's done 7.5k on Spotify, which is
that's
really
mental,
impressive.
isn't it?
For how much, I mean, we've made our money back on streaming already.
15 quid for 7,500 listens.
Just someone that's promoting and putting it in front of different people. But yeah, he's got 3 tracks out. Lockdown Rhythm, On My Own, and our latest one, French Kiss.
I haven't listened to that yet. I'll have to give that a listen to in the car. And we've also got Tone Blanco, so that's at ToneBlancco. Again, I haven't listened to any of his stuff.
So he's got 8 tracks out, all produced by myself. He's also had an EP that he released before I met him under the artist name of NICC, Nick. But yeah, we did this again with no sort of marketing or any money really put into it. I think we run one Instagram ad on one of these things, but yeah, he's really come along, and TaylorMade actually introduced me to him. We spent a lot of studio time. We've got a lot of stuff lined up, so he's got actually 2 EPs dropping, so he's got 2 5-track EPs. The first one is sort of the harder sort of hip-hop, dark hip-hop, and the second EP, which will be following that, is sort of smoother sounding, so it's quite
still hip-hop, or is it going towards...
I don't know, probably more commercial. He goes between, he can sing as well as rap, so the B side is more the sort of singy sort of stuff. But yeah, he really and they can. That's the beauty of TaylorMade and Tawana, that they all do different sort of stuff. So they jump on house tracks. Done a couple of house tracks, do hip hop tracks. Tone Blanco and Tawana both sing and rap as well. So it's quite a nice variant, and we've done a lot of tracks together. We've got EP dropping at the end of the year, which is, I think we've got 7 different artists on there.
That's impressive. That's really good.
So we've got a lad called, so we've got Tone Blanco, Tawana, myself, actually recorded a few tracks with the guys. We've got a lad from Texas, America, called Chemo, and we've also got another lad from Cambridge called Asari. I think he's Asari Music, so he's going on there. But yeah, and it's quite nice to have lots of different aspects in the track, different styles.
Are you finding it difficult? Because obviously you used to be a chippy, you're starting to give up your job, you've handed your notice in. Obviously you love music, it's not a chore for you, but what aspects are you finding difficult making the transition between your full-time job and going, you know what, I don't want to be working for the man anymore, I want to do it myself? And
yeah, I mean, I don't find any of it difficult because I just enjoy what I'm doing. So I think lockdown sort of really resonated with me that a lot of people sort of bought into the negative of lockdown, but for me, I gave me 2 months that I could literally do what I wanted. Obviously I couldn't have the artists around, so I just focused on making the music, but yeah, I think it's just, I'd rather be doing what I love doing, not maybe earn decent money for being a chippy, but I know stepping
it's
away
not
from
fulfilling.
that. No, I mean, you can be good at something but not love what you're doing. And because you earn good money, you think, oh, that's what I want to do, but I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. So
I found that before lockdown happened, I was car salesman. I don't love sales, but I'm good at it. But what I loved was the customer experience of making friends. Like a lot of car salespeople, you'll go into them and they'll try and mug you off for everything, whereas for me, I was like, right, I'm very service orientated, I'm going to make it the best experience possible, and I like conversations, which is why one of the things that I really love doing this, I can meet new people, I can have a conversation about their interests and go into some weird shit and have a laugh. With lockdown, obviously I went on furlough. I suffer quite badly, there's a car fucking racing down the road, suffer quite badly of depression anyway, so for that, me sitting on my arse doing fuck all really affected me. And I realised then, you know, I don't want to be working for anyone else, which is why now, just come back off holiday, I'm like, I'm going to make the commitment to myself to put all my energy into my business and this as well. This is more of a hobby, getting to know people, talking to people, having conversations, and then push myself into that.
I can relate to that massively. I mean, at the back of lockdown, I suffered with, not really suffered with, but like I really suffered with depression probably about a month and a half ago, like quite severely. I mean, I don't really know what had caused it, but getting to the root of it was the fact that I think essentially it's I'm not doing what
You love.
what I want to do. And you think, oh yeah, you're earning good money, and I was doing music. As soon as I get home from work, bang, straight out the studio. And all I was living for was the evenings after work and the weekends when I'd have artists around. So every weekend I'd have Taylor Made round, I'd have Tony Bank around, I'd have Tuala around. We'd do like a stay over and we'd just record. And I just fucking loved it. And I was like, I just want to do that
All the time.
And since I've made the commitment, and I remember the day that I told my boss that I was leaving, I was actually physically shaking, ringing him up.
It's terrifying. It must be terrifying.
And that's something called the terror barrier. Like when you commit to a goal and you follow through with it, your subconscious is telling you what you're doing. You've got a good. You want to stay in the comfort zone. Everyone wants to. You've got to step out of that comfort zone to do what you want to do.
They do say that every single day you should do something that takes you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's not always possible, obviously.
No.
Well, I found with my self-confidence, I was bullied quite a lot at school.
Yeah.
And what's really helped mine with both a fear and getting comfortable being uncomfortable is, we were saying earlier, is like I'll turn my music up in my car, I'll put something fucking embarrassing on and just drive down the street listening to it and know that people are looking at me, and I feel uncomfortable doing it, but I'm like, you know what, I've got to get through that. I don't like speaking on microphone, I don't like being recorded, but doing this has helped. And I think that's one thing, once you push past that barrier, it's going to be a lot easier.
The terror barrier.
Yeah. And I think everyone is always seeking validation of someone else. So you care about other people's opinions, and you care about what other people think of you. Why do you care what someone else thinks of you? All that matters is what you think of yourself. Like that's the mindset I've sort of got into now. I think a lot of people try and buy things and they do things to impress people they don't even like. Why are you doing it?
I was bad for that. So I earned really good money over the years as a car salesman, and I'd go out and buy shit that I just really didn't need. Like my car, I've got a nice car, but I've got a Jeep Cherokee. It's like 40 grand's worth of motor, which I could afford at the time, but now I haven't got a job, and I'm like, fuck, how am I going to afford it? How am I going to push myself to
You're going to have to make
do it?
yourself afford it. That's the difference.
And I was reading the other
You can
day.
make this afford it. You can make Proper Chap afford it. If that's what if you commit to it, you can do it. But obviously TSI is your goal, and I love that, and I get that. That's a longer road, I think. If we can get a podcast that's trending, then we don't have to. We'll have people approach us. We can do deals. Just if anyone's listening and this podcast goes trending, we will commit to say 50 grand, for 2 years. We'll promote you every single podcast. We do one a week, every week. We will give you that license that every week for 2 years we'll promote.
Sponsorship, like sponsored.
We'd do that.
Going back to the radio sort of adverts and stuff like that can be whacked on at the start.
If we make this, we've already got 1,000 people that organically like Proper Chat. That's 1,000 people that you're getting, even though we're growing it and we are focused on growing it. If you're getting 1,000 people that listen to it on week 1, by 2 years that could be 1 million people that listen to your shit.
I mean, some of your posts as well, like I've done
100,000
We've
plus.
had over 100,000 views on some of our posts. So if we're plugging someone that's paying for sponsorship, fuck me, you could do it with S23 for 50 quid, and every single post that we do mentions S23. You know what I mean? That's the reality. That is the reality.
I'll tell you a thing that I read. My Instagram, all that I follow is motivational. I follow a few friends, but it's motivational and business. And one of the biggest things that I see on there every day is the fact that the people that will try and drag you down are always your friends and family. but they will tell you, oh, spending 2 years working on a business is a waste of time because it might not go anywhere.
Your biggest
when
hater
actually,
is someone you know, and
Yeah.
your biggest supporter is a stranger. And that,
Yeah.
I think it was Heath Ledger that said that in his Rest His Soul. When he was an actor, he said the people that rated him least were the people that knew him.
but also it's more the fact that I could spend 2 years working on my business, which is something that I love, or 40 years working a job and never get anywhere.
And that's the reality. And you spend 2 years and it fails. God forbid it fails. But that's 2 years that you've tried to build something that is going to make you rich forever. Or you can spend 40 years picking and packing
Yeah.
for fucking Amazon, and then you retire with a state pension.
Exactly,
But the
and
reality
state
is,
pensions fuck all
I'd
now. anyway.
rather have 20 goes at trying to do something than one go at being casual.
Yeah,
And if you really commit for 2 years, how long is 2 years? Especially the world we live in.
We're not designed for work. Work is designed for us.
Yeah, that's where it started.
100%.
It's factories. The reason that we live in the way that we live now is because of the Industrial Revolution, where factories were built and people needed to manufacture goods for other people, and then people had to work on machines. And now we don't have to do that.
Back to Think and Grow Rich, people go like, why do you go to work every day? Because everyone else does it. It's the thing that you throw in the masses. If you go off in a different direction,
people
you're
don't
going to
like
make
it.
something for yourself.
And the
what
joy
you want to
is,
do. Look at anyone that's successful. Look at all the major sports stars. Look at all the major business owners. They all go
Sports
off on,
stars ain't the greatest.
No, but if they
No, but
have
let-
a goal and they focus on that.
let me
and
tell
they
you
look
why
at Tiger
sports
Woods,
stars-
Rory McIlroy, all of them, mate.
Sports stars aren't the best example, because if you're good at something naturally, you can make a very healthy living off it. Sports stars
But
don't
the mega
really. Well, they don't really.
No, well,
have
you
to
say
try.
that, but
the
like-
difference is entrepreneurs. Look at
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, people that don't rely on natural talent, people that create something from nothing.
Yeah.
If you're good at
With a
football,
dream.
if you're fantastic at football naturally, and you never have to try for that, you're going to be rich.
You still got to look at Ronaldo when he went to United. He was like 19.
Yeah,
When he
but
went to
before
United,
that,
he was like, who's the best trainer here? Bang, Ryan Giggs.
Oh, and
I'm
that-
gonna
well,
be-
look at him now.
I'm going to be better than Ryan Giggs.
He's older than you, and he still plays top level football,
100%.
earning millions and
But he
millions.
had a
and
goal,
millions.
and he always had goals to like better himself.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different because he had the natural talent in Portugal that made him be attracted by Man United. He didn't focus that.
Yeah, but look at what he is now to compare when he joined
Yeah,
United.
and that's
He's
true. That's true.
Mega star.
But what he could have done, and that's. I'll tell you what, I stand corrected,
drive.
because what you've said there is fucking true, and it really is. And to become mega elite has taken him a lot of focus and a lot of drive. But he could have been multi-millionaire without doing
A
that.
lot of people get to a point where something happens when they make a lot of money and then they just stop. You've got to constantly be striving for that next goal.
No, often some people don't have that next goal. If you're Ronaldo and and to be fair, I would not be surprised if he's the prime example. And in 10 years I'm going, told you so.
And
I
also,
reckon,
with like him and Messi, they're constantly battling each other to be that best player, and they're
Yeah.
striving each other to be better.
I bet you. Well, I don't bet you anything. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Ronaldo doesn't have a glycerin managerial career, or doesn't have any of that, because his drive will probably end when he's 40 and he's achieved everything that he wanted to achieve. He wanted to be the best football player in the world.
Look at his stats. It's insane.
He wanted to be the best football player. Does he want to? Is he going to put that much passion
You don't know.
into? No, you don't.
Depends what he wants, doesn't it?
But I bet you he don't, because the amount that he's put in to being the best football player. I'll tell you what I reckon.
He's a winner, isn't he?
In fact, I almost guarantee what's going to come off the back of it is his son becomes the best football player in the world. Because I bet you his drive is to be the best football player that ever existed, and he's pretty much done that with Messi with a bit of shape. That's 50-50. Some people Ronaldo, some people Messi. Who cares? So basically,
We've lost our flow a little bit.
yeah, we've definitely lost our flow. We nearly run out of battery. We're going to continue. What I know I was saying was that Ronaldo's dream and his goal was to be the best at his sport, and he's achieved that tenfold. I don't feel like he's going to step into management or into
Coaching or something.
coaching, agency work. He's going to put everything into his son, because his son's already signed by Juventus.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's probably part of Ronaldo's contract, I think. Like wherever I go, my son needs to be in the youth team. Yeah, so that is, realistically, that's probably just a clause.
That's a good clause to have in. That's building generational
Mate,
wealth.
it was something I saw earlier. I've got a group chat for the Chelsea fans. And Dennis Wise, who is a bit of a Chelsea legend, his son, who in 2000 I think, when Chelsea won the FA Cup, could be wrong, Dennis Wise came out to lift the trophy with his son in his arms, yeah, and that was a pretty famous photo for Chelsea, and now his son is playing for Watford. So I said, clever decision to have your son following your footsteps. To do that, you've got to be wise. Dad joke of the year. Dad joke. Yeah. So I won that. Yeah. Anyway, regardless of that, how is S23 going to be the best in its field?
I don't know, just strive to find new artists. So one thing I've talked about with Taylor Made is basically creating an app where basically it has X amount of tracks on there. They can click on it and then record. So it's had direct link to the microphone. It'll then record the vocals over the track, and then
you handpick. So
yeah,
say
you have to send that off.
Say 5,000 people do that.
Yeah.
Then you have to go through each one, and then you handpick.
And then with all the artists, we'll sit through them all and pick our top 10, say, and then give them opportunity to come to the studio, record tracks, release tracks.
That's a fucking quality idea.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to do what you do, don't know how to get found. And if you've got an app, especially if I was a good singer, for example, and you've got an app that's got a song there,
singer,
and I could just go on, record my lyrics over the top.
Tracks,
exactly. Just send it off
And
to
then
you.
you can handpick them with your other artists and go, I could work with this one for whatever reason. I know there's another thing that you delved into when you spoke to Minnow the other day.
Yeah. So I have a lad called Minnow Music who's a house producer, and he plays all over the world really. I think he's done sets in Croatia and stuff like that.
What, he's been paid to do
Yeah,
it?
he gets paid to. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of what the festival's called. But yeah, so he's released a couple of tracks. I think he's released a track with a Russian label, maybe an Albanian label. But yeah, he's got a few tracks.
That's unreal.
He's got on Beatport. He's had a track that's really reached the top 10 in Beatport. All self-taught, and he started doing tutorials. So
is he like trying to get in part of S23? Being
yeah, to be honest, like he's part of it. I mean, we do have like a weekly session. He comes around and we make house tracks, DJing together and stuff like that. And he's also designing the website for S24productions.com, which isn't up yet. This is currently in construction.
Already paid for.
Yeah, we bought it, but yeah, we're just constructing it. So the concept behind that is basically all the videographers we work with, all the artists we work with, everyone we work with will have like a platform. Anyone who clicks on there, they can sort of then
Go through, find music they like.
They can do that. What you were saying about the app, that will be a part of it.
Yeah, and we've obviously got videographers, we've got people that do graphic design. We do the music. I'm going to do an FL tutorial. He's going to do Ableton tutorial. Obviously, mine's more hip hop trap based. His is more dance based in Ableton, and then just expand upon that. So
basically, what you're creating is a hub called S23
production.com,
where everyone that wants to be part of it and is happy to be part of it for no financial benefit. Yeah,
No.
to be part of something can submit to become part.
Yeah, it's all the people we sort of network with that we obviously have good, positive relationships with, that we put them on like no charge at all, and just sort of build up a
rapport and
build up a brand, and it's basically
a brand.
Yeah, so someone, say an artist out, if you're an artist out there that you're talented, like there's a lot of talented artists out there that don't have a platform to get out, is reach out to us. You can get your track made, you can get it I'll make your track, we can get it mixed, we can get it mastered, we can get it released,
So
we
what?
can do the videographer,
So
we
in
can do
terms
the
of
artwork,
marketing,
everything.
yeah, you could probably, so a good way. The company that I work for full time,
Yeah.
in competitions where the people that get selected and win it, win like it could be a family pass for a year.
Yeah.
So what S23 could do, or is potentially do a competition where the person that wins gets a full day at the studio.
Yeah.
If they don't live locally, you put them up in a hotel.
Essentially like a talent contest.
Yeah. So not even that. It's so raw that everyone enters the competition,
Yeah.
and then whoever wins it gets put up in a hotel locally, and whoever they are gets an entire weekend to build a song from start to finish, and has the chance to put that on Spotify.
And to work with, say, Taylor, Tony and Tawana, so they help you with the writing, the concept of the track, the artwork, all sorts of stuff. We have
and the focus as well. It's giving people focus, and also you, and from what I've listened to, how you're portraying yourself and your business is inspiration. You're giving people inspiration and to push them through. Exactly, and that's what people are missing out on. Things like YouTube do it, but YouTube is so oversaturated now.
It's impossible.
It's impossible to find new artists.
That's not
It's the
us
same
with
as
our
podcast. Yeah.
We could enter competitions for Proper Chap to get featured on a renowned podcast channel. The chances of that are like probably about the same as winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing it something a little bit more raw and a little bit more direct, it's a fantastic way to go.
And speaking of competitions, we've actually, so once I step away from work in September, we've got a competition up where we're giving away free AK, MPC, and all you have to do is...
What is an
So basically AK MPC is, not MPC, sorry, an AK keyboard MIDI controller. It's just basically a keyboard, I think it's about 150 quid off a kit. Giving that away for free. And all the things we have to do is follow myself, S23 Productions, and all the artists that are currently involved with it. And if you click on S23 Productions at s23productions.com on Insta, you can click to all the artists that are involved.
the linked in the bio?
Yeah, links in the bio. So follow them, and you have to do a post with your music, and tag ourselves and the artist.
I love that.
And then out of whoever enters, one person will be selected at random by us and the artist, and then you'll win yourself. Yeah, and I think it comes with like a basic software for Ableton as well, so you get that and a basic software as well for free.
And so that's aimed at aspiring producers?
Yeah, aspiring producers or aspiring producers and artists are the same.
Mainly producers.
Yeah.
So there's going to be offstairs, the fact that you're doing that straight away from the day that you commit to this full time, there's going to be giveaways galore. People are going to be...
Yeah, and we also got lots of S23 merch lined up, like we'll be rolling off some...
Face masks.
We've got face masks at the moment, t-shirts and
He gave me and Abs a face mask today.
It's a good size and good quality as well, which is quite nice.
I saw the face mask that you wore last week before we went.
I know, my Borderlands
and
one.
that fits you a hell of a lot better. So good.
I'll be wearing it.
We've got a track with Taylor Made called Big Kids Grown. We're actually doing a video for it. We've also got another S23 track coming out called Too Much, featuring Taylor Made and Tony Blanco, which we're also doing visuals for. So off the back of that, there'll be sort of giveaways for free merch and stuff like that.
Yeah, is there any other ones?
Yeah, we've got another track which I'm actually on myself, which is the first
But
track.
you as an artist,
Yes, so what I'm doing, I'm doing a hook on it. It's got a track called Rise of the Sun featuring myself, Taylor Made and Tony Blanco, which will be coming out. I think it's probably coming out, we haven't got a set date yet, but probably November-ish sort of time after.
Tell you what,
We'll
post that
let
one.
us know and we'll post it.
100%,
Post that one.
That's a big track coming in.
Fantastic. Shall we wrap things up there?
Yeah,
then?
let's wrap it up. Thank
Right,
you
so
guys. I've
thank
been
you
LB.
for listening. Thank you, Alex, for coming on. Like I say, look up S23 Productions on Instagram, Facebook. Look up everyone that we've spoken to, and also if you get a chance, come down to WT Snooker and Sporting Club, because it is a great atmosphere in here. It's nice cheap drinks, and we actually got it wrong earlier. It's on Burley Street, so that's 39B Burley Street, Cambridge, CB1 1BG. again, thank you for listening. Like and share our
Cheers, bye.
stuff.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.